Breaking. ABC News anchor suspended after Coco Gauff shocking revelation. The newsroom was unusually silent. Monitors blinked with half-written scripts. Coffee cups stood still on desks, and a red on-air sign, normally buzzing with life, hung quietly like a forgotten memory. Something seismic had just rocked ABC News, something no one saw coming. It all started with one revelation, a revelation from Coco Gauff. The tennis world has long known Gauff as a fierce competitor, a rising superstar and a global icon who carries herself with grace beyond her years. But no one, absolutely no one, expected that she would be at the center of a media tornado capable of suspending one of America's biggest news anchors. The moment everything changed, it was supposed to be a standard interview. Coco Gauff had just wrapped a spectacular performance at a major tournament. Reporters gathered eagerly. Microphones stretched forward like curious fingers. Then came the question, seemingly harmless, at least at first. The ABC News anchor, veteran journalist Michael Harlow, leaned forward, his voice calm but probing. "Coco, many are wondering, is it true what's been circulating about your off-court conflict?" The room stiffened. No one knew what he meant. No rumors were circulating. At least, none that Coco herself knew about. Gauff blinked twice, unsure whether the question was misunderstanding or something more. "Off-court conflict?" she repeated. "I'm not sure what you're referring to." But Harlow pressed on. He pulled out his phone, waving it confidently. On the screen was a headline from a sports tabloid claiming Coco was involved in a behind-the-scenes feud with a high-ranking tennis official, a completely fabricated story. The article claimed she had leaked private information, made threats, and even bullied younger players. None of it was true, not even close. The moment Gauff saw it, her expression collapsed into a mix of shock and hurt. And that's when everything spiraled. Coco's calm but powerful response. Gauff could have stormed off, demanded the anchor stop, or refused the interview entirely. But she didn't. Instead, she took a long breath, looked directly at the cameras, and spoke with steadiness that silenced the entire room. "I want to be very clear," she said. "This is false. Completely false. And it deeply saddens me that a journalist at a major network would bring something like this into an interview without verifying it." Her voice was soft, but every word cut the air cleanly. "People think athletes are machines," she added. "They forget we're human. They forget that rumors can hurt. And they forget that truth still matters." The clip went viral instantly. Tens of millions of views in hours. And that was only the beginning. The backlash begins. Viewers were outraged. Fans were furious. Other athletes began reposting the video with messages condemning irresponsible journalism. What shocked the world even more was the speed with which ABC News reacted. Within 6 hours, the network released a statement. Effective immediately, anchor Michael Harlow is suspended pending an internal investigation regarding the handling of journalistic standards in a recent interview with Coco Gauff. 6 hours. Networks don't move that fast, unless something catastrophic has happened behind the scenes. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed that Harlow had been warned multiple times about sensationalist tendencies. Others suggested certain producers encourage him to ask the question to chase engagement. But the most explosive rumor of all? That Gauff herself had been targeted because she refused to play along with a separate controversial segment the network had been planning. No one knew the truth yet. But one thing was certain. Coco Gauff's honest, composed response had ignited a media storm larger than anyone anticipated. Inside the ABC News chaos, while the world debated what happened, ABC employees, speaking anonymously, began leaking details. One producer claimed that Harlow's question wasn't in the pre-approved script. Another said Harlow had been warned minutes before going live that the tabloid article had been flagged as misinformation. A third source revealed that the network's legal team was terrified that Gauff might take action. Internally, morale was shattered. Staff described the environment as tense, chaotic, and unprecedented. One insider said, "We knew there would be consequences." But no one expected suspension within hours. The higher-ups were panicking. The network scrambled to control the damage, but the internet was already in full wildfire mode. Coco speaks out again and changes the tone. 2 days later, Coco finally spoke publicly through her own channels. Instead of attacking, blaming, or demanding consequences, she surprised the world again. She posted a 3-minute video. "I didn't want anyone suspended," she said thoughtfully. One professor explained. This wasn't about Coco Gauff specifically. She was simply the moment where everything finally snapped. And in that moment, Gauff unintentionally became a symbol, a reminder that the truth still matters. Coco's career skyrockets. Strangely, the scandal boosted Coco's global influence. Her interviews became more sought after. Brands praised her authenticity. Young athletes called her a role model. She gained millions of new followers across platforms. What could have been a damaging rumor turned into a defining chapter of her public identity. Not as a victim, not as someone caught in controversy, but as someone who stood calmly in the storm and spoke truth with dignity. ABC News implements major policy changes. 2 weeks later, ABC announced new regulations. All athlete interviews must undergo double verification. Anchors are prohibited from citing tabloid sources on air. Fact-checking teams will be expanded. Anchors must pre-submit any unscripted questions. This was the biggest newsroom reform the network had implemented in nearly 2 decades. And everyone knew why. One athlete, one false rumor, one moment of truth. A final twist, the real source of the rumor. Weeks after the dust settled, investigative journalists uncovered that the tabloid story originated from an anonymous social media account known for generating clickbait sports gossip. The account had no verified sources, no real identity, and had fabricated stories about dozens of athletes. But unlike the others, the rumor about Gauff reached mainstream television. Because Harlow put there, his suspension served as a warning for journalists everywhere. Not every trending post is news. Not every rumor deserves oxygen. Coco's final word. Months later, when the world had finally calmed down, Coco was asked if she regretted speaking out the way she did. She smiled gently and said, "I don't regret telling the truth. I hope more people feel safe doing the same." And with that, she walked onto the court, racket in hand, focus sharp, ready once again to do what she loves. Play the sport that made her a star, far away from the noise of rumors and reckless journalism. Conclusion: the suspension of an ABC News anchor became more than just a media scandal. It became a lesson, a warning, and a reflection of modern culture. Coco Gauff's shocking revelation wasn't a secret or a scandalous confession. It was simply the truth spoken boldly. In a world eager for controversy, Coco reminded everyone that honesty still is power, and that sometimes the most shocking revelation is integrity. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.